Good evening, everyone. Welcome to closing comments here for July 22nd. Let's jump right into our charts and take a technical look at today's action. First up, we got our October live cattle on the board. We did see another big red day here across this cattle market. Both live and feeder prices continue to slip. We did see this October contract opening up today at 222.5, but those sellers taking over right off that opening range, driving this market about $4 lower on the day and closing down here at some new yearly lows. With that being said, the sellers are in control here. We failed to get much of a relief rally over the last couple days, just a little pop up here nearing 225, but falling short of those averages. Plenty of resistance here, a lot of selling pressure overhead. We can see the sellers continue to be aggressive here, as we saw late during today's action. This thing driving lower into some new yearly lows means the sellers are in control, and we should see that momentum carry over into tomorrow's session. With that close below last week's low, be on the lookout for this market to see some increased volatility, and we could see some selling pressure start to accelerate down here into this 210 to 215 area. So look for those bears to keep on driving this market lower. If you haven't gotten defensive or raising any cash here, now would be a good time to do so, as we should see this thing continue to slide in the days to come. At the moment, this market remains in a nice little downtrend, and it's going to take some work to get this thing turned back out of here. We still got lots of supply, lots of resistance overhead, so we need to see this thing start to stabilize, build a nice little base out before we can commit to any sort of upside. In the meantime, not a bad time to be sitting on the sidelines and just being defensive here. Let this market try and find its footing, stabilize a little bit. There'll be better days to come, but at the moment, we should see the bears keep driving this cattle market lower. Next up, September feeders on the board. Big red day here for the September feeder contract as well. Prices slipping down here into the 330s today, and seeing some pretty heavy volume here. This market weighing heavy on these range lows that we've been trading in all year long. We've seen this market hanging out here between about 335 and 380 all year long for the September contract. At the moment, we are weighing heavy on these current year's lows. It's a pretty blurry line here at the moment between about 333 and 337, but today we saw a lot of selling pressure, big heavy volume day, and we should see those sellers try and attack these lows tomorrow. If those bears are able to drive down here below this yearly low at 332.87, we should see this thing really start to open up to the downside. Look for the sellers to continue to attack some new lows if we do give up that level, but if these bulls are able to respond the way they have back here in March and June, that'd be a nice little response here. But at the moment, this market is looking heavy, and probably not a bad time to be defensive here as well. This this live cattle market's weighing pretty heavy on things, and it's looking like it's going to start to pull this feeder market with it. If we do see this thing open up below 335, raise some cash and get defensive, as we could see some increased volatility and some more downside here for this feeder market as well. Next up, we got our December corn futures on the board. Big green day here for this corn market as it continues to follow the crude market. Crude oil prices and corn just really dancing step in step here. At the moment, this market getting a nice rally today above 475, opening up the door to about $5. That's on the horizon here. We can see all this area we danced around during the heat of the Iran situation we got going on. Had a lot of big wide daily ranges here between about 475 and $5. So with today's action breaking out above there, look for this back and forth up here, nearing $5, nearly $5 level here to come into play. Bulls are going to see this thing kind of spike up into here, but we've had pretty tough time getting much above $5 all year long. Look for this thing to see some wide daily ranges and some increased volatility up here in the high $4 range. And like I said, that crude market continues to lead the way here, pushing that corn market higher as well. Seems to be some correlation. And we see this crude market having a nice little poke up here, nearing $90 on the day. Also seeing some upside here in the evening session already, trading up here right around $88, pushing through the top end of this trend line we got going here. With that being said, that could open the door to about $90 to $100. Look for this thing to see some news-driven spikes here. Got some increased volatility at the moment. Wouldn't be surprised to see this thing kind of dance around in the $90 range from now at this point. If this market is able to see a big reversal below today's low at 84.40, that we should see this thing continue to slip back down into the 70s, but we've got some good action here back above our averages and this trend line, so that does open the door to go trade through the 90s up to 100 here. So be ready for this market to see some increased volatility in the days to come, and we could see some more upside in this crude market. And last but not least, our equity markets on the board. Indexes all kind of seeing some mixed action here today. Good back and forth as we are awaiting a lot of these big mega caps earnings releases. We did have Google and Tesla reporting today. And after the bell, so far we have seen a pretty negative response at the moment. Tesla being off here already, and Google also trading down there to about 330 after finishing the day. Back up there at 342, so not a good look here at the moment. Each of these big mega cap names, these are big pieces of the puzzle. Seeing a pretty poor response to the earnings so far. We'll have to wait and see what the day session brings tomorrow. But if the bulls aren't able to support that thing, that could start to weigh heavy on these indexes here and start to push down on the S&P and the Nasdaq, especially as they're heavily weighted in those areas. We do have some more earnings to come in the next week. We still have Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, all those guys looking to report coming out next week. So that'll be some more big pieces of the puzzle. But at the moment, just not seeing a good response from those guys. These indexes still remaining pretty sticky here in these ranges we've been trading in over the last about 2.5 months. So not really expecting to see that change. We'll just have to wait and see what kind of response we get from the rest of these earnings. See if we can push this market one way or another. But in the meantime, look for this choppy action to continue. That's all we got for tonight. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Catch you guys tomorrow.